Could you imagine watching a ball game without actually having to go to the stadium, watching it from your couch? We're going to be talking about virtual reality on the show today, also diving into things that are happening in our financial and real estate market. Great show lined up for you. Of course, my goal is to educate, empower, and engage your American dream. Let's start the show right now. Every single day, you are consumed with information. With the 24/7 negative news cycle and a pop culture that's polluting the airways, all selling out for the ratings game. Well, guess what? There's a more positive way to look at life. You live in the greatest city in the greatest country on the planet. Every day with our elite network of professionals, our goal is to educate, empower, and engage. And now it's time to fight for your American dream. All right, he was on the Forbes Wealth Council. He's the CEO of the estate planning team. A good friend of the show, Robert Binkley, joins us in studio. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
You're still a member of that council.
I'm still a member.
Yeah, I don't know why I put you in the past
That's
tense.
okay.
No, I mean, and you're a speaker, and you're just a wealth of knowledge. And every time you come in here, you help me with my number one job, which is to be a consumer advocate for our audience. Today, we're going to dive into insurance, which I can almost feel people say, as far as the topic goes, right? But this is a really important thing from life, disability, long-term care. So explain what people need to know.
Well, I think, in everyday life, there's risk.
Yep.
Insurance can cover that risk. You insure your health, you insure your automobile, you should insure the fact that you could be disabled at any point in time. There's a very high percentage rate that at some point in time in your life that you will be disabled to some degree. Long-term care as you get older, you should be looking at those options. And life insurance, the fact that you have loved ones that you want to take care of, there's different ways to buy life insurance, and there's really reasons why you should buy life insurance, not only just for the fact that it protects you, but it's because there's some really nice tax benefits of earning tax-free income from those investments.
At what age should you start looking into this life insurance?
I think when you have a family, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, when I was younger, my dad, I went and rode a motorcycle, and my dad said, "I'm going to insure you," because I didn't want to lose you. So, from a business standpoint, if you work in the work community, they should insure you because you're they don't want to lose you, and,
sure.
and so there's those types of insurance. But I would say in your 30s, you should really start considering life insurance because you're insurable. You can get really good ratings. The cost of insurance is really inexpensive compared to as you get older, and you could come up with some sort of an illness that becomes a problem that could incur more of an expense.
You mentioned the tax advantages of life insurance. Explain how that works.
Well, the fact that life insurance is it grows tax-free and it comes out tax-free because you can borrow it, and then the death benefit's tax-free. So the neat part is that all the money that you put into it is after-tax dollars generally, but as it grows tax-free, and then as time goes on, it builds cash value, and as you get the cash value, you can pull that out as a loan against the policy, and at the point down the road, the loans, when you do finally pass away, the death benefit will pay off those loans, and it extinguishes the obligation.
I want to go deeper on this, Robert. You're on the Forbes Wealth Council, and you've come on this show, and you've talked about everything from tax planning, estate planning, wealth management. Now we're diving into insurance today. I want to have you go a little bit deeper on this because I feel like there's a negative stigma with life insurance. There's a lot of financial advisors, that's all they offer because there's a big commission attached to it. To what degree, I don't quite understand. What's the good and the bad and the ugly about this? What do people need to avoid? Because life insurance can make a lot of sense, right, for all the reasons you just described, but what are the things to avoid with it?
Well, you got to write life insurance for the right purpose. I think there are things out there that there's some policies that are better than others. It's important to find the best policy.
Okay.
Just like buying a car, or you want to find the right car that fits your needs. And more importantly, a lot of life insurance companies don't all sell the same type of policy. There's some life insurance companies that cover long-term care in their life insurance coverage because the life insurance companies try to underwrite all the unexpected things as much as they can so they can actually give you a policy that's affordable. So there is things that are out there in policies that you should look at, that you should take advantage of, and that could be tailored towards your needs. So the most important thing is get a good agent. We love the fact that you have to have a comprehensive agent that makes sure that they ask you the questions give you the right answers, and be able to present the right policy for your family's needs. That is so important, because what you don't want is a life insurance policy that you've paid into that doesn't cover what you really need.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it applies to all insurance, right? If you're getting homeowners insurance, you want to get the right dwelling coverage and make sure that if your house were to catch fire or anything else were to happen to it, you got the ability to rebuild it. So similarly, to people that don't understand, you want to make sure that it makes sense not only for you, your age, your wife, the kids that you have. So one of the pitfalls is maybe just getting a bad policy that really doesn't materialize the way it's supposed to.
That
you put a lot of money into.
Totally agree. And setting up the policy inside your estate or outside your estate, I can't tell you how many times I deal with high net worth clients that actually agents have actually put their death benefit inside the taxable estate, and they're already over the estate tax limit, so they end up losing that money that they've been paying for because the estate tax takes it away. So it's very important to make sure that you set it up right, to do the estate planning side of it, as well as to find the right policy. Disability, another point, again, if you can't work,
these things happen.
You know, that does happen, and you have nothing to cover you. When you can't work and all your bills don't get paid magically, they have to be paid by some sort of coverage. So these are all the important things. And the good part is it's very affordable. And so there is a negative stigma on insurance because you have to have something happen for you to get this, this benefit. And so, but those things do happen in life, so it does make sense to protect yourself. There is cost associated with it. Life insurance, there's a front-end cost, which over a long period of time, actually becomes very inexpensive. And if you kind of look at the expense of life insurance and the management inside, it can actually be as low as buying a no-load fund investment could actually be even less expensive in the long run than actually buying a no-load investment. So that's some of the neat things that life insurance offers.
Hey, you came in here and hit the bullseye, man. There's a lot of things that you can talk about. Today you zeroed in on insurance, which I think is a very important topic. Robert Binkley, Forbes Wealth Counsel, still on the Forbes. They haven't kicked you off yet. You're doing a great job for me. You're doing a great job for our show. Thanks for coming on the American Dream.
Appreciate you having me.
If you have questions on this stuff, I want to remind you, I want to be a resource for you. You can reach out to us, visit us online, hit the contact form. Happy to help you. More of the American Dream coming up next. This is an awesome segment. So we talk a lot about real estate on the American Dream. We're going to dive into some virtual advancements in real estate. Henish Pulikul joins us in studio, CEO of the Home Company. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
All right, man. So I want to dive headfirst in this thing. You brought the stuff and you've got it on the news desk. Enlighten us to what's happening.
Yeah, of course. People have seen these and you think it's kind of gimmicky. Unless you've tried it once, you really don't know how immersive it really is. Because virtual reality and 3D are different, right? When you watch a 3D movie at the theater, that's one feeling. When you're in here and you're moving your head and you can see all angles of this room, or if you're in a house and you can see the wood grain on the cabinets, you can see the tile patterns, now you're really there. It tells a lot better story than the picture does.
In full disclosure, I did this with you. I almost fell out of the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was cool. You're sitting there and you look like a goofball when you're doing it and you have other people in the room, but you really do feel as if you're in the home.
Sure.
And do you think this is where real estate shopping is going?
I think it can help, right? It's not the only way, but I think it's a great tool. For example, we had a buyer come into one of our houses. His wife was on the East Coast still. He said, let me show her this, and just got her a headset. You can get $10 cardboard versions. You don't have to spend $100 on one of these. Pull it up on your
It's crazy
smartphone.
to me that's still only $100 though.
Yeah, it's a great deal. It's a piece of plastic with a couple lenses on it.
So how does it work? It connects to your phone?
Yep. You snap your phone in. It works with most smartphones. These ones are made for the Samsung phones, but I'm sure there's versions for other phones as well. You plug it in. There's minimal controls on here. And as you saw, you just do the targeting with a little target, or there's a little remote feature you can get on new ones as well.
Well, the convenience of it is amazing. Not to mention, if you are if you're a realtor and you're shopping a home, you're putting it on the market. Now we have an international buyer pool.
Exactly.
So I could just totally see that this working with international buyers, especially on luxury real estate. Talk to me a little bit about augmented virtual reality. What does that mean?
Yeah, so there's augmented reality now, and the most common app people know is the Pokemon Go. You look through your phone and you can see something that's out there that's not there, right? It's there digitally, and
Yeah.
you're moving around. But now with augmented virtual reality, there's major companies that are putting a bunch of money into this, saying, hey, this is going to help out with education, with entertainment, with sales. Imagine you walk into a dated house and you want to see it renovated in a modern contemporary style or a revivalist style, or whatever you prefer, and you can click a button to transform what you're seeing, augmented with the same walls, same layout, same house, but with different furniture.
So this is just starting to happen now?
This is just starting to happen, and they're figuring out, it takes a lot of processing power, and all the people need to work on it to get it right, but it's starting to get there, right?
Where do you think we're going to be in 5 years with this stuff?
You might not have to leave your couch to buy a house.
We're going to be a really overweight country, I think. Tony Robbins, everybody knows Tony Robbins. He's a big investor in this stuff now. I was listening to a podcast of his, and he was suggesting that you might not even have to go to a game to watch a game.
No.
You're going to actually feel like you're front and center
Sure.
on the court, at the hockey arena, football stadium. Anywhere they're going to be able to create this virtual reality.
It happened a few years ago, right, at Coachella. People saw Tupac, and they lost their mind.
Wow.
Right?
Oh, man.
And now that was a projector. And so the augmented reality is doing things like that, where they could project it, and it looks like it's there, right?
So as it pertains to real estate, though, you think it's going to be something that helps actually move homes? You're already starting to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an effective tool because you can, say you want to show it to your family and they're not nearby. You could send them a Google Cardboard headset, branded with the home company, or whatever it is, and say, hey, take a look through the house. This is what we're about to buy. And you don't have to save yourself on a $500 trip.
So what percentage of realtors are starting to bring this into their business model? You're all about it, right?
We're
But you're
doing
the
it on all
CEO
of our
the
houses.
home company, right?
Yeah, we're
so
doing it on
it's
all-
really instrumental for what you do. Does the rest of the industry catch up? If you're a consumer, you're someone who's buying
Sure.
or selling real estate, how do you even ask about being able to leverage these types
Yeah,
of
there are a
tools?
few third-party companies that'll offer it. Same companies that do the photography and the drone footage. They have the Matterport cameras that do the virtual reality tours. And so they often charge $600 or more per house, depending on the size and the quality that you want. Having it in-house just makes sense because now we can put that to use immediately, right? Not have to schedule it, not have to wait. Plus the price point makes sense where after we pay someone else a few of these, it makes just sense for us to just have our own.
Oh, it's a unique selling proposition for your firm, and I just think it's cool. I love where the world is going. It's
Yeah.
also a little scary. You know what I mean? This idea that you're not going to have to leave your couch to watch a ball game.
Right.
Like I said, hopefully,
they feel-
hopefully people have good diets, because stuck on your couch can't be good for you.
Ideally, they figure out a way for you to interact better with people too, right? And the way people are interacting is changing, right? There's less people talking and more people chatting.
Fascinating. Henish Pulikol, CEO of the Home Company. Appreciate you coming in here. We're going to be trying these things on during the commercial break. Appreciate you coming in, man. Awesome stuff.
Thank
All right,
you.
coming up next, more of the American Dream. Stick around. All right, now joining us in studio, he's nationally recognized. This guy is amazing at tax advice, tax planning, but also asset protection. Formed one of the first LLCs back in 1979.
Wow, I didn't even know I was born at that time.
Done a few of those things. And a former ball player, Doug Jennings,
I
joins
am,
us in
absolutely.
studio. Talk a little business, not only business, LLCs, S Corps, C Corps, but also just the business of running a home and doing it the right way. Just got out of tax season, so you've come up for air.
I am breathing for a change. Our firm, as your audience may know, is Jennings Financial Group, Inc., and it's a firm that's unique because we coordinate lawyers and CPAs under one roof. I've not seen it done elsewhere in the United States.
So we have a new administration, potential changing tax laws. What do you think's coming up the pipe?
Only good things in taxation. The tax rates will be going down for all people. The Democrats want to say it's only for the wealthy, but that's not true. If you're a business owner, you're going to see your corporate tax rates drop from 35% and maybe as low as 15. It may end up at 20, but 15 to 20%. That's a big change. That's going to allow businesses to keep the money that they make, hire more people. That means more people being employed, more people paying taxes, even at lower rates, causes our country to flourish.
Think that's what will happen?
I know it will happen.
Yep. I mean, right now we're seeing, and you've seen this, jobs moving across the world, sorry. Companies like, what was it? The Burger King bought a donut shop in Canada, Pfizer trying to lower their corporate tax rate. So you think by bringing that down, there's going to create enough incentive to keep the jobs here?
I know it for a fact, and I've been so impressed with this administration bringing foreign jobs back to the United States. Doesn't mean we want to harm other countries, but we've been too altruistic. Right now, we have to take care of our own. We're only as good as the lowest social economic individual. So if we go to Detroit or Chicago, where people are having hard times, I want to lift those people up, and by giving them jobs and giving them self-respect is what we want to do.
Well, it's certainly, there's no shortage of content on the mainstream networks debating these topics. We tend to be bipartisan here. So let's dive into just pure advice, right? So we just got out of tax season. I want to dive into asset protection. So here you've presented to me a full-blown chart. I mean, it is a flow chart. When you sit down with an individual or a family, you're looking at the big picture. Dive into this thing with me. How do we help people protect their assets?
We have
set
the
up the right
pleasure of representing people all over the United States. We have done more corporations, I think, than anyone in the United States. California has told us that we do more S corporations, C corporations, limited liability companies than any other firm in California. I've done over 20,000 trusts over 45 years in every state in the United States. Let's start with estate planning, and let's start with someone's personal home for a moment.
Okay.
That's usually their highest valued asset, most cherished asset. Most people do not even know how to hold title. 97% of the husband and wives in the United States, in every state you can name, hold title to their home as husband and wife as joint tenants. I disagree. The thing that they should do first is they should establish a revocable living trust. Everybody should have a living trust. And that will avoid probate and death taxes. And some of the documents we put into this portfolio, when the husband dies, allows the home, when it goes to the wife, to receive a complete step-up in basis. Oh, darn, I just lied. I'm sorry. That's only for the following states: California, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, Washington, Idaho, New Mexico, and Louisiana. Those states say that if a husband and wife own assets, they're community property. And those states, not only when the husband dies, but the wife also receive a new basis. The wife could sell every asset they own after the husband's death, no taxes, no probate, no death taxes, and no capital gains tax.
Why do you think so many people neglect this part of their financial livelihood? Look, we talk a lot about the market on this show, from the stock market, bonds, interest rates, real estate, a lot of these things you can't control. But lowering your tax liability, having the right structure, protecting your assets, these are things that you can control. What keeps people from doing it, and what keeps advisors from doing it right? You're saying 97% don't even hold their
You
house
have
title
many
right.
questions in there, so
Yeah.
I'll just take them one at a time. As you know, our firm, most of the clients from around the country that retain us ask us, can you lower my income taxes?
Sure.
Easy. I've never met a client I can't cut their taxes in half, unless they're not paying tax. Okay, let's leave. The highest tax in the Internal Revenue Code is not the income tax, it is the estate tax. Under Jimmy Carter, it was 77%. Ronald Reagan brought it down to 55%, and President Obama had it at 40%, and that is where it is today. Under President Trump, I think you'll see it go down further. But the highest tax is the estate tax. So most people, I think, do not want to address death. And so they procrastinate talking about it. But I have a little 22-year-old granddaughter who just graduated from college, going to be an accountant in our firm. And lo and behold, all she has is a checking account, savings account, and a car. That's not very much. But this living trust that every person in the United States, 18 years of age and older, should have. I have already done one for my granddaughter, so she can decide who's going to be in charge of her health care if she's injured, who's going to be in charge of her money. All these things, you have to start people at a young age. Asset protection, the home, even if it's in a living trust, is not asset protected. However, my home in Rancho Santa Fe, California, is a $10 million home, which I'm happy to say is in my Jennings Qualified Personal Residence Trust. That will mean that if I get sued, it cannot be taken from me. It is asset protected. It will avoid probate. It'll go to my wife tax-free. She'll get a step-up in basis, and when I die, it will go to my children tax-free. So we have to take steps and keep growing.
Doug, your wealth of knowledge. You
I
make
have
my
fun.
job as a show host challenging. I got producers, floor directors, they're all yelling at me, throwing up stop signs. You have so much information that you bring to the show every time we have you on. I love it. Here's my biggest takeaway. Look, this stuff is obviously very complicated. Reach out, get a tailored plan, and we can help you do this. If you go to AmericanDreamNetwork.tv, you just want to get some advice, a complimentary review, smart thing to do. Reach out to us, hit us through the contact form. All right, coming up next, more of the American Dream. Stick around.
We have a winner! Johnny, you won! You won!
Grandma?
There are certain times in life when you need a neutral third party to call the shots.
I know, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't, you hear me?
Keep it fair. Choose Oakwood Escrow.
Sports Stories, one of my favorite segments of the week. Now, this is an interesting one. You ever been to a game and heard the voice? I think they call it the voice of God, is it? That
I've been called that, yeah.
Have you been called God before? It's been
Yeah.
a compliment I've ever been given. Chris Davis, good to have you
Greetings,
here, man.
sir. How are you?
And you're also a blogger and doing stuff with Sports Domination. Good to have you on the show, man. This is fun to have these kind of conversations. So, your story of landing. First of all, where are you doing the games?
Right now, I do games for Albion FC, Orange County FC, two minor league soccer teams, Point Loma Nazarene University, and Grossmont College.
Cool. So you're covering a lot.
Pretty
of
much
ground.
everything, yeah.
Covering a lot of ground. Your story and how you got into it's pretty cool though. This goes back to high school baseball.
Yeah, I ended up trying out for baseball, and I was the last cut. And then the coach came up to me and says, "Hey, I need an announcer and a manager. You want to do it?" I was like, "Sure, what the heck, why not?"
And now 25 years
25 years later, I'm still announcing.
So what sports have you covered over 25 years?
Oh, geez. Baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer. Tried my hand at hockey play-by-play. Not doing that one again.
So it's play-by-play. I mean, you hear the voice, but what's your favorite sport to do?
Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball and basketball is
player.
really close.
All right, so over 25 years, I know you've accumulated some stories.
Oh, just a couple.
All right, so let's hear them.
Let's see here. One that my friends always tell me I have to tell people that have never met me before is the fact that I did get a penalty for a team I was announcing for once. I got unsportsmanlike conduct, actually. The referees, it was a junior varsity game at a high school, and the referees had signaled timeout to this one team 4 times, so I, on the mic, said, "Timeout," whatever team it was, their 4th of the half. Referees huddled together. I thought, okay, they're going to throw a flag for too many penalties or too many timeouts.
Too many timeouts, like the Chris Webber back in the Fab 5 days.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the announcer
For saying that?
for saying that.
So the team actually got a penalty.
So the team ended up getting backed up 15 yards. It was not a big deal. We were up by 30 points. So
Oh,
it
you're
wasn't
like
that
more
big
hated
deal.
than the punter at this point in time.
I actually got on the headset to the head coach via the coaching system, and I said, "That's what they were signaling." He's like, "Yeah, they're morons."
Did they
They
end up
never
losing the game?
No. We ended
didn't
up
affect
winning
them.
by like 15. So it's
So
no big
David
deal.
Frecker writes for Sports Domination.
Yes, sir.
And he's like, man, this guy's got all kinds of stories. I mean, he's like, you got to ask him about the almost being ejected from a game, the
Yes.
funniest moment behind the mic, the strangest location that you've announced from, your proudest moment. Like, you've been through some serious experiences here. So rattle off some more stories of things you've seen. This is all San Diego based.
All San Diego
Yeah.
based. I used to announce for a semi-pro baseball team during the summer, and they're up at Barone Indian Reservation. And the funniest thing is one summer probably about middle of game one. It was a doubleheader. Middle of game one, cows, a whole herd of them, just come moseying in and take up spot in center field.
Cows show up on a
Cows
baseball
up
field.
in center field. And I was
All right.
like, okay.
You don't see that very often.
No, you don't.
Yeah, baseball's a very superstitious sport. What's
And
that mean?
Very superstitious. I have no idea what cows sitting in center field mean, but I do know the very next day we had a fence.
Was one there before?
No, it was not.
So they
It
set
was
that up.
kind of open field, hit it to center field and run for days. And they had the cows come in and join us for a part of a game, and all of a sudden, there's a fence the next day.
Well, not a bad gig that you have, man, being able to see all these games. 25 years of doing this.
Yep.
And now you're doing stuff with Sports Domination. You guys got a massive following there. It's a great blog to follow these guys. You can also find Chris Davis on Twitter. What's next for you?
Next for me is actually doing a couple soccer games, filling the school year with some odd jobs, getting ready to work the San Diego County Fair as an ambassador, and it's fun to get paid to have fun.
Yeah, you don't see yourself retiring anytime soon?
No.
And what's next for the blog with Sports Domination?
For the
David
blog,
Frederick?
we're just going to plow along. Got a few teams that we covered during the summer, and then right back to San Diego State in the fall.
You know what's really cool about you guys is, there's a camaraderie in sports, competition in sports, and I think people are really bummed out about the loss of the Chargers, of the fact that the Padres aren't exactly the greatest team in Major League Baseball. But there's really cool stories around San Diego, from the football league with the cops and the firefighters to the women's dance team. And I mean, there's so many different charities that are putting together these cool organizations that you can go out, have some fun, and still teach your kid sports. You don't necessarily need the Chargers here to do that.
No, and the Chargers are great. They still support the community, even though a lot of people don't like that. They do. And so it's, I never really rooted for them, I'll be honest with you. But I'm glad that they still help out the community.
All right, man. Well, thanks for all you do. Fun having you on the show. Hope our audience can follow your guys' blog. You guys got a massive following there. Good to have you on the show. All right, that's all for guest interviews today. We're going to go wrap the show up, coming up here in just a moment. All right, that's all for today's show. Hope you enjoyed it. We dove into tax planning, estate planning, even insurance, but the virtual reality stuff, isn't that crazy? Freaking crazy to me. Watching a game, you're not even listening, whatever. If you want to comment on the show, how do you do that? You visit me online. If you want to follow me, craigsewing.com. The show's AmericanDreamNetwork.tv. We do the show every day, but we hope you can engage in the conversation outside of the show. And while you're there, follow us on social media. Help us grow this thing. Every day, our goal is to educate, empower, and engage your American dream. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow.